Hello everyone, welcome back. It is Paula here with Paula's Imperfect Plans. Thank you for joining me for another video. Today we are closing out our October 17th paycheck budget because I'm filming this on Thursday, but you're going to see it on Friday. It's payday, guys. So payday Friday. Always a favorite day. And so we're going to jump in and close this paycheck out so we can see where all of our money went, all of it, during this paycheck. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay. So when I budgeted this paycheck, I wasn't sure. There was a new deduction added to this check, so I was estimating. My check ended up being $1,195.94. And then my husband's was as budgeted, $1,721.44. There's just two other categories that we have, so they can both go in here. And one was, I shared a little bit when we paid off our debt that I got some money from my mom to reimburse for the parts for my dad's charger that we purchased to repair that. And so that amount coming into our budget was $679.88. And then the other categories were our roundups, which were $1.67 in total. We're doing a little bit less cash, so we have, overall less in our roundup. So as we add those categories up, our total inflow is $3,598.93. That's what we were working with in our budget. So we'll come down now to our fixed expenses, and we did set aside the second half of the internet, which was $29.11. You're actually going to see it's actually more than that didn't finish our internet bill, but you'll see that on the third paycheck, since October is a 3-paycheck month. What we took out to put towards our internet bill for this paycheck was $29.11. Our phone bill ended up being $193.41. Can never ever tell you why that happens. Our life insurance set aside from this check was $131. And so those are all of our fixed expenses because, I don't know, that's just our fixed expenses. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then, so what we did, and then so for these next categories are our annual or semi-annual bills. Car and homeowners insurance is due in November and fully funded. Registration was paid in September and isn't due again until May. We put $10 into the workout sinking fund and $10 into the Mint mobile phone sinking fund. So for fixed expenses, we have in total $373.52. A little bit over, the only difference there being that, 11 cents? Okay, so if we take that and we subtract it from the $35.98.93 that we started with, that leaves us with $3,225.41 to move down to our next category, which happens to be savings. I do switch the savings and the variable categories like areas because I have significantly more variable categories than savings ones. So I just swap them out. So as we look at our savings categories, our emergency fund is first up. I am doing the Save 2025 and 2025 tracker. And with this paycheck, we saved $80. We put $100 in the high yield savings account toward our vacation sinking fund. $25 in toward our propane, which is future heating cost sinking fund, $50 into our kids' high yield savings account sinking fund, We only ended up putting 115 into medical because we did have several out-of-pocket medical expenses, so only 115 went into the sinking fund. 280 did go into toward next summer's daycare, and then the last three are cash categories. So in our Christmas binder or challenges, we do $40 every time we get paid. In our holiday binder, we do $15, and then we did $210 in minis, and those fund our cash envelope sinking funds. Which means that 915 was our total in the savings category. If I subtract that from 32, 25, 41, which is what we started this savings goals area with, we are left with $2,310.41. That's what's left over of the budget now. So that amount gets carried up here, and it is the actual amount that we have left as we go into our variable categories. So for our variable categories, I feel like this is going to be a ride. Okay, so on groceries, we actually spent $207.67. Spending was $140. We did take that out in full. Beauty was $50. Work meals was $0. In drinks, we spent $27.50. In dining out, we spent $100. In car wash, we spent $30. I think we allocated it elsewhere, but we did use it. In kids allowance, we spent $18. Our Amazon subscriptions were $110.53. I must have made that budget shortly enough before that I knew that exactly. We school lunch was $140. It didn't get billed till almost the very end, so it was significantly, well, I mean, it's like $186 was what our bill was. So this $140, and then, so in real life, it is the 31st, and that bill isn't, it just got, it hit our account, so it'll auto draft, I think, on the 10th of November if I don't pay it before then. So this is the $140, and then the other $46 and change will come from my October 31st budget to cover the rest of that. In car gas, we put $100 in. The 29-cent fee that goes to reload those Quick Start cards on the Raise Right app was not there this time. I mean, it was there, but I spent this $100 at the same time that I used my mileage check to reload it. So I took the 29 cents from the mileage check, but it's just a per transaction fee. So this was just $100. Target had nothing. Medical expenses, I was budgeting $50, but we ended up having $85 in medical expenses. So because that increased a little bit, that's why the actual amount that went into the medical sinking fund went down just a little bit so that I could compensate for that. There were no vehicle repairs, and I mean, I guess I can put it under miscellaneous, but really it was clothes. I made a clothes order for my kids for $49.12. And so I actually used grocery funds to pay for it because sometimes we just jiggle things around like that to make it work. Okay, so our looks like in this area we spent $1,057.82. And if we subtract that from $2,310.41, because that's what we started this category, the variable area with, we are left with $1,252.59. And then let's see what we did. Our last section is debt. And I actually have, so our debt binder, we didn't put anything in by this time because we were done with it. We had finished it, I think probably with rollover or something with the last paycheck. So we paid off the remainder of the Wells Fargo card. So the amount that we actually paid on payday was $445.44. And then the amount from that my mom reimbursed me, what was remaining was $546.14. So those were 2 payments that total $991.58. That's what went onto the Wells Fargo debt to have that paid off. And then the remaining amount of the money from my mom. So then the next line, which I don't have on here yet because I didn't anticipate paying the Wells Fargo off with this paycheck. But here, our next current financial goal is saving for our property taxes due in March. I typically fund that with our October, or the third paycheck. So with the 31st check, and you will see a large chunk funded with that. But also because we purchased 40 acres last year, we also have those taxes in addition to the taxes for just our acreage. And so it's like $1,700. And so I couldn't pull it all from the October 31st check anyway. So we are kind of using it just like a debt goal and funding it with absolutely everything until it is fully funded. And so toward our property taxes, with the amount that I got paid from my mom, I was able to put $133.74 into it. And then today, when I was going through and taking out what I didn't spend in groceries, what I didn't spend in drinks, what I didn't spend, that was the main one, what I didn't spend in groceries and what I didn't spend in drinks, I was able to put another $127.27 toward that goal, which means that in total, toward our tax sinking fund, I put $261.01. And so if my math is correct, that plus $991.58, oh good, it equals $1,252.59, which was what we started with when we got down to this debt category. So then that does give us our zero-based budget because we spent all of that. So that is where all of our money went that came into our budget during this paycheck, how we spent it all. And the categories in which those happened. So if you have any questions, as always, I am entirely open to answering those down in the comments. I love to see and interact with you guys there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It's free and it helps out a bunch. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.